This origin and build might be the strongest I've ever seen. We'll be having a massive economy early on, as well as insane tech outputs and speeds. To top this off, it's extremely consistent across multiple games that you can play, and you cannot be killed even on Grand Admiral with no scaling. By the time your Overlord does collapse, your economy will be extremely strong, and you'll have the potential of fielding over 300,000 fleet power by year 50. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, as well as tips and tricks along the way that you can even apply to other builds that you may play. Now, let's get into it. So here is the build. The most important part is Imperial Fiefdom, then a Megacorp, and these civics, because we're going to be messing around with Mercenary enclaves today. Ethics and traits don't really matter, but I've just gone for tech rushy stuff, and also you need Militarist for the Mercenary civic. Satirius gives us academic privilege, Xenophile opens us up to peaceful vassals later on, as we can be nice and friendly. We're running my standard settings, but we're not going to be playing with any mid-game scaling, just to prove the power of this build. We are playing 0.5 tech cost. This build will still work with others. I found 0.5 to be a nice setting to keep recording videos at the frequency I do. Now you might be wondering, this video seems a bit weird. That's because Windows decided to turn my mic down without telling me, so the original recording audio is really jerky and just not fun to listen to. So I've decided to re-record, but watching it, so it's kind of like a post-commentary. I don't even know what you think, maybe this is a good style for the future. I've also tweaked my audio settings, so let me know how it sounds. So we have Imperial Fiefdom. What is it? Essentially, we start as a vassal of a super strong advanced start Overlord. And spoiler alert, in 50 years, it will completely collapse, giving you the option to either vassalize everyone or just leave. So by then, we need to build up and be as strong as we can. The first thing we need to do before even unpausing is come into contact, then go to our Overlord, diplomacy, and then offer trade deal. So what we're going to do is give them our fleet for 30 years. Don't worry, it's only 3 corvettes. Who cares? We're also going to give them all our loyalty, boosting our opinion up a bunch. That means we can come on over and get 2,000 energy, 2,000 minerals, and a little bit of food. You don't want to go over these numbers because the AI is going to spend a lot of these resources when it plays. That means the trade deal can't go through. We're also then going to come over to trade actions and get share empire data so we can get 20 intel on them. The reason we've done this before we've unpaused is because you can't trade resources when you're a bulwark. And that's the vassal designation we're going to go. To let it play, we're going to pick the nice option for the positive opinion. That's going to come in very handy later on. We're not going to select bulwark yet. We're going to go to fastest, then we're going to play. And once they accept the trade deal, then we can select bulwark. Then we're going to establish embassy, and then we'll improve relations. This strategy was found on the Reddit by the user Bloody2. I couldn't say it earlier because YouTube would probably demonetize me. The link to the post is in the description. Okay, so what does bulwark actually do? Bulwark is the only specialization that gives us resources, which we can then negotiate in 5 years. It will all come together. We're basically just leeches taking resources from our advanced start AI. It's very strong, but there'll be even more to this build than just this. The next thing we're going to want to do is come on over to our contacts tab and see if our other vassal friends are Megacorps. As you can see, we have slaving despots and honor-bound warriors, so they are not Megacorp, which means we don't need to rush to get our branch offices in our Overlord. If you do happen to spawn with other Megacorps, get those branch offices in your Overlord as soon as you can. But hey, even though they're not, we can still just establish a branch office. So come on over to their capital, go over to holdings, then click establish branch office. This will cost you some energy and influence, but we're going to make that back. The best building is probably the commercial zone, as it gives this branch office 25% more branch office value, and it gives them a merchant job so they can produce even more trade for you. We do unfortunately lose 50% of the total branch office value because we are a vassal, but we still get the other 50%, so this is fine. And then the next buildings, you can either build science or unity, depending on what you want. There's some other resources, but Megacorp science didn't get nerfed, so don't tell Paradox, but this still produces 6 of each, so definitely build that. Next, try and find any planets you can. You are racing against your other allies, or your hosts, I guess. As you can see, I have a planet here, so we want to try and get that as quick as we can. Also, when we become a bulwark, we do just get a destroyer fleet, so losing corvettes doesn't really matter. Establish embassies with your other vassal friends. You can eventually get branch offices in them. It'll give you a bit more energy. And also, we do get commercial pacts with all of these, which gives you even more energy. The start is nutty. Look at our resources, and we're 4 months in. And because our resources are so insane, we're just going to pick tech and unity options because we don't really need many buildings or buffs to our economy. You just want science. And that's why we're also just going to build research labs on our capital. So another key part of this build is a research agreement. Now tech has been nerfed, research agreements are insane. Research agreements give us bonuses to techs that the other person has already researched. The research agreement plus a little bit of influence will give us massive tech cost speed, and it's an advanced AI. So they obviously have way more techs than us. So every tech we research is going to have that buff. We're also going to do a migration treaty just so we can get a bit more bonus to pop growth from immigration, and maybe there's a planet that they can settle. Influence is going to be a big issue this game. Just be careful on what deals you agree to. So we're sending our military ship to explore. We've got our science ship also exploring, and we found one of our tundra worlds, so we want to try and get that as quickly as possible. And then we're also going to buy the maximum amount of alloys and consumer goods, as we have so much energy. If you didn't know the numbers for the max and keep forgetting like I usually do, it's pinned in the Discord, which you can check, link in the description. So our bulwark specialization has kicked in now. We get actually access to technology, and we also gain FTL inhibition, which is nice, I guess. We get penalties to monthly energy, food, and minerals as we level up, but we're just going to be taking stuff from our Overlord, so this is fine. So producing resources is actually quite bad, and that's why we just want to spam science and unity as much as we can. You might be wondering where the resources come from. It matches our basic production, so completely ignoring energy and food and minerals isn't entirely the best way to go. You just want to find that balance, like in normal games. So my exploring technique here is to rush towards the Overlord to try and get the planets that are closest to them, and then we can go to the right. They're going to be expanding from the left. Then we'll try and take all the systems and try and lock them in. And like I always mention, you can always build a colony ship before you even have the planet surveyed or constructed. This is a little bit more efficient since colony ships take a year to build. You can build it before you even have the planet. As soon as you get it up, that means you can get access to resources quicker. And here you can see all the different species from that migration tree. They are Gaia world, but they have lithoids. Not too bad. So we really want to get this research agreement going as quickly as we can. So let's just give them some things like bulwark prefabs, pledge loyalty, which will give a bit more opinion. Now we're up to -17, so we're getting there. I'm just going to whack any spare envoys in here. Maybe we should have put them all at the start. The Starlight, Daddy Issue, and Alice Lovelace are working their best. These are Patreon submitted names, so if you enjoyed the channel, want to help out and get involved in the videos, check out the link in the description. Even though we're not being militarist, we're going to go supremacy anyway. This is mainly for mercenaries. To create a mercenary enclave, you need 50 command usage. We get +10 because we're a bulwark, then we can also get +20 from war games. This brings us to 50. We want to try and finish this as quickly as possible, while also getting our alloys up a bit so that we can start making mercenary enclaves. And remember, by the 5th year, we'll also be taking alloys, consumer goods from our Overlord as we can negotiate a contract. It's going to be fun. And mercenary enclaves give you more research, more resources, and you can hire their fleets. And you don't have to pay for the upkeep while they're just sitting there. As a reminder, if you are playing Megacorp, when you're in a branch office on the planet, you can click tab to cycle through all of that empire's planets. This means you can check that you do have every single planet of that specific empire. And it lets us compare which planets are the best to go in, because you can just spam it and look at the population. So I want to do one on the 40 population planets. Also, because I know what happens, this was a bad idea. Influence is a massive pain. If you're not competing with another megacorp, don't do this. You'll see why. And on the Empire, I always go for a science ruler and go Spark of Genius, because when they level up, you can get Spark of Genius 2, which gives you 6% more research speed. As a caveat, I know this won't be good on multiplayer because most multiplayer PvP rules don't allow origins that spawn AI. However, if you just want to have fun and have strong number and not really care too much about dying, maybe you're new at the game and want to play safe, this origin's for you. We can finally get that research agreement. We can learn 32 physics, 51 society, 30 engineering, and they learn nothing. Good data. So this is giving us a huge boost of 25% research speed to every tech that they have, which is going to be pretty much all of them. This is massive because, as you could see, all the other bonuses we've stacked so far doesn't even add up to 25%. Our expansion is going to be slow. We have loads of things that we're setting up to just make us exponentially rocket past people in terms of fleet strength and just economic and research power. So we've got the command limit that's +20, which is nice. Ready for carrier pigeon to go up to an enclave, but we also need ships. So we should probably send them back home so we can start building them up. But there is a system danger that's going to be in the way, and we don't want to lose the fleets. So what we can do is restrict the system. Now there's technically no way back. So if we click return, we can make them go missing in action, which will just come back to their home starbase, which is our capital. So we're now 5 years in, and this is where it's going to get even more crazy. Come over to contacts, the agreements, go to your Overlord and negotiate contract. So we're just going to take the most basic resources, all the science, all the advanced resources. We're not going to do strategic resources. These cost a lot in terms of their opinion, and there's no point in doing it. So we're going to join all their wars, give them 4 holdings, and just keep independent census. This makes the contract as cheap as possible, and we still don't have enough influence. You might be thinking this is what I was referring to, but it's not. But we did just get to 96 by clicking play, so we send that contract in. And unfortunately, because of the influence costs, we haven't got a planet yet. And just keep an eye on their science ship over that that planet, this could be an issue. So it's not too big of a deal. We now are getting 60 research for pretty much free, and this is going to increase as we build more science. We are getting 168 energy, 62 minerals, and 28 food, and 16 alloys and 34 consumer goods. Our economy is doing very well. So now with these alloys, we can start now building up our Mercenary enclave. So it's good that we actually got destroyers from becoming a bulwark. Destroyers are one of the most price efficient ways of filling up to that 50 fleet limit. What we're going to do is uncheck auto generate designs, go with destroyer, remove auto upgrade, and remove all the shields and armor and guns to make it as cheap as possible. Don't remove the hyperdrive like I've done because they can't merge, so you still need the hyperdrive. But also back in my day, when you emptied ships, you would get the alloys back. That doesn't happen anymore, but it was a cool reminiscence to the past. So I call it the empty class destroyer, and this only costs 88 alloys compared to 198 when we had it fully kitted out. So basically every empty destroyer we make, we could have just built one destroyer. So you can see how this is going to fill up the fleet as quickly as possible to get the mercenary enclaves, and then once the mercenary owns them, they can fit them out. We don't need that. And in the market, we're just going to buy maximum consumer goods. Even though we have loads, it's good to have a massive surplus because we're going to be building a lot of tech. Xenolinguistics is also a very good tech because it's going to give us a bit of influence, so I'm going to research that. So as you can see, they're now one jump away from our guaranteed habitable world, and we need 79 more influence, which is about how much we spent on a branch off. Maybe the tech will give us enough influence, and they're already building there, which is a big misplay on my part. But again, this is going to show the power of the build and how consistent it is. We don't really even need that planet. We would just be even stronger with it. Settle on this planet in Alderaan with our Overlord's pop. It's only 50% habitability, but that's fine. This build also forces us to play quite full, which is great because Empire size now has more effect on tech cost, and this tech cost only comes into effect over 100. So staying as low as possible, as long as possible, means your tech is more efficient. As you can see, we are just zooming through techs. We don't have much output, but we're getting so much research speed. This is good. I've started to build star bases, so we can just build hydro base in it, which will give us some food. It means our Overlord will give us more food. So something I should have done a while ago when we did get the consumer good buff from our Overlord was to come over to the species tab, then go to our species and then click set rights. Then go to living standards and click academic privilege. Academic privilege gives us 10% more research points from jobs. It also gives 15% happiness to rulers and specialists, but the consumer good upkeep is much more. But since we're pretty good on consumer goods, we may as well get more science. Remember, more science from our pops means more science from our Overlord. That puts us up to 322, which was quite a big boost from before. Also with the excess consumer goods, you could just distribute luxury goods to get a bit more stability and amenities, which will give you more job output. We've also unlocked the deck for star fortresses, but we haven't even got star holds. Thank you, Bulwark Designation, for doing that for us. Okay, this colony's finally done. It's looking quite good and beefy, so we're going to make it our industrial world. We also do get bulwark traits, which are interesting. They're not going to be too useful, but you might make some use of them. We do now have the 25 destroyers, which adds up to 50 fleet strength, but it does cost energy and alloys to set up the mercenary enclave. So it costs 1,500 energy, 100 influence, and 2,000 alloys, which we don't have yet, but we could just buy alloys because we have so much energy. So Carrier Pigeons is becoming our first mercenary enclave. Now we get a dialogue screen. So with this, we can review our options. We can help them field a bigger fleet, which costs some energy and alloys. You can do it up to 5 times, I believe, and it costs increasingly more energy and alloys. The bigger the fleets, though, the bigger rewards you get from the events that will pop up. But we can also share our technology with them, which helps them out, I guess, and just gives us 1,000 energy. The mystery enclaves will also be useful to hire when our Overlord collapses, as we don't really want to field a massive fleet now, as it's just going to cost us energy and alloys and upkeep. So just having them stored as mercenary enclaves is a win-win. I forgot about edicts. Capacity subsidies will just give us more energy output, which means our Overlord will have to give us more energy. Fortify the border is also good, so we can get more star bases, which means more food. So this third world can just become another science world. We don't really need too many resources, and we'll also make it a little bit energy based so that we can get some more energy from our Overlord. So now we have the resources, we can help them field a bigger fleet, and it's a great investment. So the unity gain on this build is not that good, but we've got our first ascension perk. I think universal transactions is going to be great because the commercial pack efficiency, branch office cost reduction, we get another officer, and we can get commercial packs that don't cost influence. Now, something I realized later on in the game, we should have gone mercantile or built some Unity branch offices. We could either switch our trade production into Unity or get Unity from planets, as it's quite slow. The Full Empire is giving us a gift. I think this is an achievement, and I don't have IM mode on, and I don't have that achievement, and I want to cry. Oh well. If you want to stop me crying because this has greatly hurt me, consider subscribing and liking this video. It greatly helps out the channel, and at 50k subs, I'm going to be streaming until I get the Galatron. One continuous stream, one Galatron, I will get it. So our Overlord is building buildings on our planet, which is in some cases offices making jobs that we have to work. We have an upkeep of unity on the Ministry of Truth. They did build a satellite campus. More tech, that's nice. We are at 482 tech in 15 years, which is crazy, as well as pairing it with our insane research speed. We've made some branch offices elsewhere. I'm doing research. This should be unity, probably. With all these excess alloys, we're building more destroyer fleets. We have an insane mercenary cap, so we're going to try and get as many mercenaries as we can. And with the energy upkeep, again, this should have been done earlier on, but we could just switch on education campaigns for more leader experience gain and recycling campaign for less pop consumer good upkeep. So in terms of the next tradition, that was between diplomacy and discovery. Diplomacy will be great to make peaceful vassals, as we can get more trust growth, we can get favors, and we can also get unity from embassies. So it's not awful. Discovery, on the other hand, would give us an edict for more research output, would give us research speed, and lower the cost of researchers. What I didn't consider was mercantile for unity, which would mean I could probably have got both diplomacy and discovery, which means I could have probably got both diplomacy and discovery, but oh well. The first one I actually went for was discovery, which isn't the worst pick, but again, unity is an issue. And then my plan was to get diplomacy next. We've somehow gone over our empire size, even though we literally have 4 systems. I guess the branch offices do give empire size too, but here is our first enclave paying dividends. As you can see, we get 1,000 energy, 1,144 minerals, and 547 food. This number is going to go up a lot as the Mercenary Enclave gets bigger, and there'll be lots of them. We've actually found our first person on this galaxy and who are a megacorp, but we're going to establish embassy and just try and make them our friends, improve relations. If we can build trust up, we might be able to vassal them when our Overlord collapses. If they weren't megacorp, we'd be able to do branch offices, but we can eventually get a commercial pact, which is just going to give us free energy since it doesn't cost influence anymore. We did find the Creator Enclave, which we can buy research speed off, and our tech is going crazy. 569, nice. By year 22, madness. We've also got the option for cruisers, which is mad, but we're not even going it because we don't really need it. We're instead good destroyer cost reduction because we're spamming destroyers. Another Enclave dividends, 5k energy, not bad. It's only tier 2, remember that. This entire build is literally just leeches. That's why the whole theme of this build is being a leech, but we're just getting all our economy from our Overlord and Mercenary Enclave. I mean, look at our capital. So much tech. Here's when I realized I should have gone mercantile for the different trade things. But I'm not sure how much trade we're getting, since I don't think the megacorp offices count as trade. So I decide to dip from discovery to get mercantile, so that then we can get adaptive economic policies for a bit more unity. You could have even gone mercantile right at the start, since supremacy came quite early. You could have just got adaptive economic policy, then switched over to whatever we wanted. We've got enough destroyers for another Mercenary Enclave. Our Mercenary Enclave is just giving us fleets, which will just become another Mercenary Enclave. It feeds itself. So here, you can just send your spare resources at other empires to try and get commercial packs. We want to get branch offices going as quickly as possible, and commercial packs also give us more energy. It's just trying to get our economy going for when the Overlord collapses. Okay, we can get adaptive economic policy, then we can come over to government, policies and edicts, then marketplace of ideas, which shifts trade into unity. We go from 24 unity to 92. So it is kind of worth it. And we should have done that at the start of the game because trade making energy doesn't really matter. So we can get a third and final Mercenary Enclave for now, but we can get more from our Ascension perk, and the Galactic Council can also get 2 more Mercenary Enclaves. And we can also get another one from a Civic. The acceptance to this commercial pack 0. Why must it tease me like this? There we go. The year is ticked over. We can finally do it. We're also somehow keeping up with the AI, even though we're a vassal. We're equivalent in research and resources. Obviously not a fleet, but remember we could just hire the enclaves to overwhelm them. And remember, this empire is tech focused, being before technocracy. Okay, we just upgraded a bunch of enclaves. The annoying thing is that it doesn't actually notify us when we can do the share research again or upgrade. It would be nice if we could get a little notification. But here's a very nice dividend. We get tech and energy, 2,000 of each. Discovery is now done, so we can get that extra enclave from Lord of War, and we also get the Mercenary Enclaves to pay out more frequently. Yep, it's gonna go crazy. 37 years in, 800 tech, 875 energy, 47 minerals, minus food. Consumer goods are okay, but then 136 alloys. We're just focusing on the resources that matter. We're also building up alliances with all the other empires. We're improving relations, getting commercial packs, building trust, and we can't die because our Overlord's just going to protect us. More dividends. The main issue here is just planets. I think we could just start expanding like crazy, but we need influence for Mercenary Enclaves, branch offices, etc. But you can't have it all. We're now going diplomacy so that we can start getting unity from embassies, also get extra envoys so we can do more improving relations, and try and get favors, as well as more diplomatic acceptance, and more trust growth, which is going to be huge. We also finally found the artisan troop, which is huge because we can become their Patreon for some energy. This will give us a bonus to unity production, but also there'll be events that pop up that we can choose to get more influence. They are huge for influence gain, and we can just do another enclave, which is very nice. Nice. 4 down, couple more to go. So we can now also get private military companies, which it sucks kind of, but we can get an extra enclave. And because we've only stuck to 4 systems, we're going to have to expand elsewhere to build an extra enclave, as you can only have 1 per system. We also did just get a new civic, which means we can readjust our council. And we've got the creator archivist from the creator order. Once you get 50 opinion, you can get a new leader, and they come with a council position, which is just going to give us more research output and less upkeep per level, which is insane because the researcher that works there is level 5. We're 4 years in, we have orbital rings already. That's going to be great for playing Tool to get more out of our planets. It is more influence, but it's fine. And any zero corps that you find, just buy the rare resources. You have so much energy, you may as well, especially since gases means more research. The 5th Mercenary enclave is here. Got to mention, but Mercenary enclaves can also increase your naval cap by 15%. You can only do it once though, but it's still pretty good. 1K research has been reached 43 years in. This used to actually not be that good in the previous patches, but now 1K tech seems like a milestone. And we can also activate research subsidies, which is going to give us even more tech. So we were on the one for the final upgrade, and we're making them big and strong. They've got a 26K station and an 18K fleet. So we want to pump those numbers up. And honestly, the dividends that come out, I'm not showing every single one, but it's all the time. The pop-ups actually get quite annoying. They're lucky they're giving us 10,000 energy or mass minerals and fleets and research. Otherwise, I'd be mad. Now, our first maxed enclave, 13,000 energy, 6,500 alloys, is a worthwhile investment. And they get a few more ships here, but I hope they keep building it up. So we've reached the year 50. Your Overlord collapsing is random, but here are the sort of resources and values you can get. We have over 1,000 energy. Our minerals lacking, but we don't really need too much. 70 consumer goods, 190 alloys, 315 unity production, and almost 1.5k science. And all of this without really having to put much strain on our brains or the planet. So I'm going to grab the tech citadels because when we lose our bulwark status, I believe the tech will disappear, so we may as well research it now. We're also just getting 3 fleets that are now cruisers, which we can just retrofit into a meta design. And as you can see, we already have Whirlwind Missile 2s, Quantum Missile 4s, Tier 4 armor, and Tier 3 shields. We do have level 1 afterburners, unfortunately, and then we'll also go over to artillery. We're lacking on engines somehow, but we'll research them soon. It's fine. And this, in comparison to the Tech Rush build I've done a few videos ago, is way better because we also have the resources to back up the tech. The basic meta at the moment for science is find what the devs didn't nerf. Research agreements haven't been nerfed. Branch office science buildings, not nerfed. Let's spam them. Also, with our 4th Recension pick, we can go Defender of the Galaxy. The plus 200 opinion is huge to try and get peaceful vassals in a minute. And it makes making commercial packs way easier. We're now equivalent on tech with our Overlord. Madness. And the Empire has broken. So what you can do is become independent to gain a subjugation caster spell eye against the new broken Empire and its subjects. This is quite good. The only issue is you can't war them if there's branch office in them. I think it could be worth it to just ban the branch offices and then war them, or you could just switch off Megacorp if you haven't gone crazy with branch offices like I have in this run. But really from here, you can play it how you want. You can make peace with the galaxy, peacefully vassalize, make a federation, or you can just go crazy and start warring everyone with the massive fleets that you have. You can easily get the subjugation war goal because you can hire your mercenary fleets, and your mercenary enclaves should you keep you afloat until you either expand a bit, make a bunch of vassals, or fix your economy. Yes, you're going to be in the red straight away after the Overlord collapses, but not by that much, because as you can see, our economy isn't even that bad. You could even reform your government to just not be Megacorp. You could get better civics. You might lose some mercenary enclaves. I'm not sure how that works. The galaxy is now your oyster. You have an insane economy. Hopefully you've saved up a bunch of resources. You have insane tech. You have the best fleets probably in the galaxy. Go crazy and let me know in the comments how this build goes for you. If you did enjoy this video, then you'll love this series where I'm trying to get every achievement in Stellaris. It's driving me insane. Just go watch it, please.